Hey everyone, I'm Andrew Lachs, BK Servos and Switchblades team pilot, and I have today with me my Goblin Raw, and I'm going to be just going over some of the key features about this helicopter. So the first thing you're going to notice about this helicopter is it's not a traditional Goblin design. It's a pod and boom. And what that means is it has a traditional round tail boom and a big canopy up front. Now, one of the first things that struck me when I was opening up the box and building this helicopter was the 35mm tail boom. Now, it's sometimes, I know for me personally, when I was looking at pictures of this and videos of it online, I couldn't tell just how big this thing is. But when you see this thing in person, I mean, this is a big tail boom. It's very strong, and I can guarantee you it's probably going to be holding up in most hard situations. Let's take a look at the tail. So the tail grips, and most of the tail is very similar to that of the Kraken. It does have a different ratio than the Kraken, so the tail is going to be moving a little bit faster. Comes stock with 105 tail blades, and that's what I'm currently running, and I've had no issues with that. It's a belted tail, just like any other Goblin. It uses the same belt as the Black Thunder series. But you will notice you just mount it in with this one piece of metal. It comes stock with the two bearings already in there, and it's very simple and very easy to mount on with these 4 screws. Let's take a look at the head. This is the same head as the Kraken. Comes stock with 30mm grips. I currently have mine swapped out for the 26mm grips to give it a faster feel. So you could interchange those as well if you have a Kraken or if you're just going for a different feel overall. Uses the same dampeners as well as the Kraken. It's the exact same head, so you have a lot of flexibility with dampening in the head. I'm personally using the stock 90 Shore O-ring dampeners and the stock B dampeners, and I'm perfectly happy with that. Let's also take a look at the canopy. So this canopy is one piece. It doesn't open up, so you do have to take, usually, when I've taken the canopy off, I usually have to take one blade off to get it off. And it mounts on with 4 screws, here, and the same on the other side. And when you're changing the canopy, you can also change the stickers as well. So it's very easy to swap between canopies and colors. Unlike the previous Goblins, you don't have to go ahead and change the whole boom or the side frames as well, which can get kind of pricey. So it's much cheaper to swap colors on the go as you would like. I also have on mine the lightweight landing gear. So it comes stock with the Kraken landing gear. And for those that have built it, you used to have to put a spacer in between the mounting point and the frame. So this new lightweight landing gear, not only is it 60 grams lighter, but it eliminates the need for that spacer. You can adjust the point of where it mounts on. Also, since this canopy is not necessarily permanently mounted, but it's permanently mounted unless if you unscrew it, per se. It has a battery hatch right here, which I'll open up and show you. You just open it up by squeezing these 2 little tabs on the side, and you just load your battery directly in from here. Now, it uses the same battery tray and the battery rails as the Kraken, so once again, this is a great option if you want something different and you have a Kraken already, because it shares a lot of those same parts. So another key feature that I noticed when I was building this helicopter and setting it up was that, having owned a lot of previous Goblins myself, the tail servo used to always be mounted inside the tail boom or on the tail boom. In this case, it is actually mounted on the side of the tail boom, connected to the frame. So there is no breakaway boom system since we have an aluminum boom now. And this aluminum boom retails, I believe, for $27. So it's relatively inexpensive if you have to replace it, and you can stock up on those. So another difference that the Raw has from the Kraken is the Flybar mount. So the Flybar mount comes with a dampened mount and a rigid mount. Personally, with the V-Bar Neo, I'm using the rigid mount, and I have so far had no issues with that. However, it does have a dampened mount if you're having some vibrations or anything like that. Look too at the belts. So another difference that the Raw has from the Kraken, the belts are the traditional style where you have your secondary shaft right here, and you have your tail belt on the bottom and your motor belt right up above. So unlike the Kraken, if you have to replace or service your motor belt, you're going to have to take your tail belt off to get to there. Now the Kraken had 2 shafts, one in the front, one in the back, whereas this one has the traditional style that we were all familiar with on the Black Thunder and most of the previous Goblin. And inside this case are your metal gears filled with grease. Also, the geometry and most of the stuff up here is the same as well as the Kraken. I did notice while building it that the ESC mount is a little different. It's still flexible just like it was on the Kraken, so if you crash on the nose, you have a possibility of saving your ESC because that could break away. Now, another awesome feature is the anti-reputation bracket. So on the Kraken, you had a metal one, and I know personally for me, after some time, and we're talking maybe 600-700 flights, I noticed it started wearing down a little bit. So in order to replace that, I had to replace this entire servo mount because it was all connected. But what they did with on the Raw is they gave a Delrin one, which mounts separately. So not only is it going to wear a little bit differently, it's also much easier to replace and service. So another awesome feature that the Raw comes with is this tail tensioner tool. Now what this does is it allows you to tension your tail belt without having to pull on the tail like you used to with the old Goblins. I know for me personally, I used to put my feet on the frames and pull, and it tightened them and kind of zigzag it back. So this eliminates the need for that. So the way this works is you clamp this to your tail boom, you rest this screw on the mount, and then you tighten this screw, which will push this little spacer out, and it's gonna, as it does that, it's gonna push your tail boom outwards, which will then tighten your tail. Now, if we take a look here, SAB even gave us a little indicator to show us how tight the tail belt is. So they recommend in the manual to put that dead center, and as long as you have it dead center, your tail belt should be the perfect tension. And just like the Kraken, they make it very easy to wire this helicopter. So they give you this channel that you're going to put all of your wires in. It goes directly back to your Flybarless unit. So I'm going to get out and do a couple more flights. I highly recommend you order this today at BK Hobbies or your favorite retailer.